because in clinical research there are multiple pieces and it is a puzzle. I've been doing this a long time, and this is the market I'm involved in. There's no company like Jigsaw in Malaysia. There are international companies that have offices here, but we're unique. The market I'm operating in, it's a $65 billion a year market, and in Asia is growing at a compound annual growth rate of 19.5%. The worldwide growth rate for the same industry is only about 12. Our margins are pretty much fantastic, ranging from 45% to other services being as much as 80%. So we do a lot of regional and domestic trials, and in that case, rather than using the global multinational companies whose prices are up here, we focus on quality and efficiency, bring our prices down, and they like local CROs. CROs, contract research organizations. What we do is we provide benefit to Asian companies and Western companies looking to increase their operating efficiency, reduce their costs, and maintain or enhance the quality of what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, my business either saves lives or, if done incorrectly, can kill people. Local CROs are of benefit to the globe because we're anywhere from 20 to 80% less. It's more expensive to do a clinical trial in Singapore than it is in the United States right now. And here in Asia, we have 4.5 billion people to operate. So this is us. We started the company 2 years ago. I started 3 other companies here in Malaysia along the same vein that were funded by U.S. venture capitalists who exited the market because they don't understand Asia, unfortunately. But we do service Asia, the Arab world, we have Western clients and European clients as well. We have a full range of clinical management and consulting services. The opportunity for monetizing things in this business is vast. From preclinical, when you're first discovering the molecule, to the post-marketing surveillance after the drug has already proven what you need to do. So what we do is we take a modular approach. We're not proud. We don't need to eat the whole pie. A slice is just fine. But slices add up. And those slices are lucrative and they're beneficial. We have a great board of advisors and we have great governmental support, as you'll come to see in a moment in the next slide. So this is the opportunity. We want to open up a center here. Right now I'm sending a lot of my work to China, to India. It decreases my margins. If I have an organic center based here in KL, we can keep the business in the country, create the job, build on clinical research, because I believe, and I've said publicly before, that Malaysia has the opportunity to be the ASEAN leader in clinical research over the next 10 years if we galvanize and get it right. So we want to develop a clinical research hub. We want to do first-in-human clinical trials, which were just approved by the Malaysian government. And we want to use our successes in that area to leverage it against future projects. Next, please. This is the unit. It's a busy slide, but we're going to do the first-in-human testing. We're going to use the Malaysian population, not as guinea pigs, but as participants in clinical research. It's done all over the world. Students love it. It's a great way to make extra money. But we also do first-in-human research on oncology patients to give them cutting-edge therapy they wouldn't otherwise have access to. We're also going to do generic drug trials. Here in Malaysia, there's a government preference for generic drugs. The price of a generic drug, once it comes off patent, will reduce by as much as 75%. This is great for Malaysia. Companies like Pharmaliana, CCM Nuopharm, Lois Pharm are all looking to do that. We also have customers from out of the country who are looking to employ the same resources. We're also going to look at Malaysia as an environment where all phases of clinical research can be done in a low-cost manner, in a beneficial manner. It's a highly regulated industry. Everything we've done is well scrutinized. The National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Authority is very conservative. So Malaysians are not guinea pigs. Malaysians directly benefit from what we do. So this is the infrastructure requirements. We want to build a fixed-base center. It'll take us 4 to 6 months to do that. We need about 7,000 to 10,000 square feet. Everything we do is accredited and inspected by MOH, NPRA, etc. Lastly, Malaysia is a great place to do it, especially in KL. 4 million people in the Klang Valley area, 600,000 students who are looking for this type of thing. Bottom line is, to avoid delays, once we get approval and the funding, instead of sending it offshore, we're going to start the active business development and let the world know we're here. Next, please. So we're looking for $3 million ringgit for the development of the research. How we're going to use the funds is capital. We need fit out, we need equipment, and we need some systems to be put in place. We need operating expenses, our medical directors, some nurses, and other people to support the organization. We need specialized software. need inspections. We have SG&A expenses for marketing, conventions, and other things that we need to spend on. Next, please. This is our management team. This is me. As you can see, I'm not Malaysian. I'm from New York. I'm a former military officer. I worked in the pharmaceutical industry for 30 years. I have an MBA. I have a master's in clinical pharmacology. And I've been in this industry before it was an industry. Stanley, who's here with me, has clinical operations, also well experienced. Dr. Murphy Liu is an oncologist with global experience with major pharmaceutical companies. And then I'm also working with both an advisory and a partnership capacity with the former DG for the Ministry of Health, Country Ishmael American, also his associate, Dr. Pillay, who was DG for research. So I've got a great team around me. I got some of the best and brightest minds, both in the region and in Malaysia, and we're the ones that can make it happen. Next one.
Justine, we can just wrap that.
I am. Okay, next slide. We'll just move on. 5 minutes goes fast. Anyway, we're making money. We're already doing business, been in business for 2 years. But these are our projections. I can share them with you in detail. But the bottom line is this is a money-making business. I don't believe we're going to do fantastic. I don't believe we're going to do terrible. At the end of the day, we're successful this year. On a low end, we'll bring in EBITDA margins of 2.4 million. On the high end, we can do as much as 8-10 million. And it goes on. These are the sales that we're going to get. Let's drive on to close out. So, bottom line is investor benefits, unique and differentiated business. Not fintech, it's something that's different, directly helps people. Extensive opportunity for service line extensions and to grow the business. It's scalable, we have good government support, and it's a low-risk investment. Next, please. In summary, that was it? All right. So, as a wise man once said, be brilliant, be brief, and be gone. So.
You mentioned that your approach is modular. Can you elaborate a bit more?
Yes. So in clinical research, there are laboratory services, there's medical writing services, there's biostatistics, there's management of the direct trial, there's project management. You don't have to do it all. The larger firms, they want to win the entire project, either it's all or none. So a wise man once said, you make $1 million $1 at a time. And that's the approach that we've taken. Because by taking a small project, you engender trust, build a relationship that sets you up very well for the next project.
So your existing business now, what is it that you do now, before you set this up?
So right now we're doing consulting services, medical writing, clinical trial management. We're doing the generic drug trials. Unfortunately, I have to send a lot of that work off to India because I don't have a fixed base. So what it does is it kills my margins. So where I could be enjoying 60-70% margin on these projects, I'm only taking sometimes less than 10%. So by bringing in a facility to directly in Malaysia, we don't have to ship.
Okay, I've got 2 more questions. So are you going to be focusing on pharmaceutical drugs only?
No, we've also done medical device. We're currently working with 2 Malaysian companies on medical device trials. So we're also working on biosimilars, generic drugs, and biotech products.
And who are your current clients at the moment?
Due to confidentiality restrictions, I can't mention their specific without NDA.
From which countries generally?
Malaysia. So 60% of my business comes from Malaysia.
Right.
Other business comes from China, Europe, and the United States.
Just going in to Elaine questions, since you say it's NDA, right? If you may just give examples, we're trying to understand your business model. I believe not everyone here understands exactly what you are doing, but Mr. Yapon, if I can just get one solutions that currently you may foresee you are working on, let's say cancer patients or whatsoever, and then what is the charges, what exactly the service that you bring in, and how would you be different with your competitor? But you mentioned that no one's doing this in Malaysia.
Not like us. So, prime example, we're working with InnoBiologics. They have access through an Iranian company to bring a biosimilar for hemophilia to Malaysia. So we're working on the clinical trial. So we're working with the regulators to get regulatory approval to conduct the clinical trial. We're working with the sites to bring in the patients and the physicians who will take care of those patients. We're handling the data. We're handling the biostatistics. We're translating things into 4 languages for regulatory purposes. We are interacting with the regulators, with the company. with their partner in Iran on a regular basis. We're also doing monitoring of the sites, project management, laboratory analysis. So it's a and each and every one of those things is a chargeable event.
So you already have your central lab set up,
My lab's in India, fortunately, one right here.
and your scientist is there as well.
We have scientists here, but our principal investigators we hire from here in Malaysia at the various hospitals where they're going to be seeing the patients. So those are individual contracts.
So would you have the talents when you set up the facility?
Most definitely. One of the commitments that I made 8 years ago when I came to Malaysia is an investment in training and education. So I work with UITM Mara, I work with IMU, I work with UN in providing training courses on clinical trial management and all its attributes. We've lectured at the pharmaceutical companies here, we've also worked with companies in Singapore. The only way Malaysia is truly going to be competitive and rise to this occasion is that all of us have to invest, free of charge, in training and education that makes our personnel better. The other thing in my industry is if I don't have the talent locally, I can hire from outside. A little bit more of a hassle in terms of permits. I want to be a Malaysian company for Malaysia.